Amanda here. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm here today with another series in my Just Journal July series. If this is the first video you've seen in the series, check out the link in the description box below to the playlist. And on there is an introduction video that tells you all about my hashtag Just Journal July series, which is going to run all through July. There's going to be as many videos as I've got time to do to give you inspiration and ideas to get you just journaling. So I'm working on my A Creative Life journal today. I've shared how to make it. I've shared everything so far. I've shared how to make the cover, all the sizing, everything. Today I'm going to start with page ideas. And today's is like a full page layout. It's interactive, it's fun, it's cute. So let me show you, because I have already done one and I'm going to do two. So I've already done one, and the one I do today is also obviously going in the journal, because I like to have repeats of things. You don't have to think of something new on every single page. Blimey, that's hard work. So, I'll come up with an idea and I'll use it twice. And I might use the same layout in my French chic journal, but just in a slightly different way. Okay, so it doesn't matter what papers you use, which journal you're making, you can use this idea and it's going to fill a page with interesting stuffs. So here's my page. Okay, it's, as you can see, it totally fills the blank page, and we've got pockets and tucks, we've got embellishments, we've got fun things, and this here is my magic envelope. I'm not showing you how it works yet. I'm going to show you how to make everything. I'm going to give you all the sizes. Doesn't matter if you use A4 or letter size, the sizes will work for both, and you'll see how this magic envelope works. Okay, so let's get started. I've got a lot of my things prepped ready. I just need to find a page. So I'm going to put one in the back signature, and the first thing I do is look for a suitable page. Okay, with highly decorated pages, don't need to do anything to those. I might add a tab, that's it. Might add a word, but I'm not going to add anything else, and then that's nice as well, so don't need anything there. So these plainer pages are ideal for this kind of thing, but just bear in mind that you want to leave some pages completely blank with nothing on at all, so that you've got room for journaling, for writing. Okay, I do that a lot in my journals. I'll leave quite a lot of just plain blank pages with absolutely nothing on. So I'm having a look. I don't really want to put anything on that lined page. Let's have a look. Okay, I'm going to have to go for one of those. I think I'm going to use this one because my layout is going to match with this here. So I think I'll use this one here. Okay. I've got a little bit of a white border on there, so let me just take that out and retrim that, because I've not cut this page terribly well. So let me just get rid of that white border at the top. Okay, and this is the beauty of the Midori style. If something's not right, you can slip it out and slip it back in again. So when you're doing your decorative pages, just try and balance them throughout your journal so that they're not all in one place and you've not got part of the signature with nothing on. I know that makes sense, but kind of just have a think. Right, so I'm just going to move my journal out of the way, and I'm going to show you the components we're going to make, give you the sizes, and then we'll construct them on the page. Right, so the first thing we need to make is the pocket. Okay, so here are the measurements: 4.5 by 5. Okay, and then along the 4.5 inch side, I'm going to score at 1/2 inch. If you don't have a scoreboard, you can totally use a ruler, okay, and a table knife, a rounded table knife. The scoring is just giving your paper memory so that it creases, and also helps you get your crease in a straight line. So we're doing 1/2 inch, and then I'm just going to turn it all the way around and do 1/2 inch the other side. It's just easier. Okay, and then along the 5 inch side, I'm also going to score at 1/2 inch. That's going to give us the flaps for a pocket. Okay, you can just stick a pocket straight onto a page by just having a rectangle and gluing on 3 sides. Okay, it will still make a pocket, but if you take time to add the extra measurements for the folds, okay, then you're going to get the full real estate. Whereas if you glue that straight down, you're going to lose some of it because of the glue. Okay, so that's why I make my most of my pockets like this. Sometimes I do just glue them on. That's fine. Okay, so I'm just going to burnish that. So then I always turn it over because you can see those indentation lines easier. So where those score lines intersect, you cut right across the X, right across the middle of it at an angle. Okay, at an angle. Easy peasy. Yeah. Let me move my trimmer out of the way. Try not to drop it on the floor because I don't have a massive desk. And then what we're going to do is I've chosen some paper and I've cut my paper 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. Okay, so that gives us an 1/8 of an inch border all the way around. Have I cut that right? That don't look right. That doesn't look right. Let me double check. 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. 3 1/2 by 4. Yeah, it's right. You know, sometimes you look at things and they just don't look right, but the measurements are right. And then I'm going to add some glue. My bottle's running out. Add some glue and get that on. Okay. Get it on. Give it a nice increment all the way around. Get it as straight as you can. If it's not perfect, it doesn't matter. One of my favourite sayings, progress over perfection. It's better to do something and get started than think it needs to be perfect. So if you're one of those people that sat there thinking, I'd love to try make a journal, but you know, don't feel like I'm good enough or I'm not confident, just try it. Just get started. It doesn't matter if it's not perfect because you will refine your skills by doing it. You learn by doing, okay? It's as simple as that. And you really will get better and better and better every time because you learn by doing. So that's that pocket sorted. So now I've got these. And what I've done is I've got some lightweight cardstock. Probably about 130, 140 GSM. Very light, okay? But slightly thicker than paper. And that's what I've used here as well. And I've printed on it. And I've printed a non-directional pattern. Okay, so I wouldn't print something like this on it. Because the folding that we're going to do, you might end up with it upside down or in the wrong orientation. So by choosing a non-directional, you're just saving yourself a headache. And I've printed 2 patterns so that I've got 2 colours within this fold. And these measure, and again, A4 or US letter size, it doesn't matter. So each of these pieces measures 3 1/2 by 10 1/2. Okay, and I've got 2. So then we're going to put these in our scoreboard or use our ruler and our butter knife. And we're going to score at 3 1/2 inches. So remember that's the same width as the paper because the paper's 3 1/2 inches. So 3 1/2 inches and 7 inches. Okay. We've got a little bit of striping in my print there. I think I need to... So I've got slight striping in my colours here on my print. Now that means that my print heads need a clean. So I'll go in my printer settings, I'll go in printer preferences and I will give my nozzle a clean or my heads a clean. And that will alleviate that problem. So if you're getting any striping or anything like that in your printing, that is why. Because the nozzles do get clogged up. Okay, and I'm taking the second piece. 3 1/2 by 7. So remember these pieces were 3 1/2 by 10 1/2. So those scorings give us 3 little squares on each piece and each one is 3 1/2 by 3 1/2. So if you want to upsize this, okay, and make it bigger or you want to make it smaller, you're basically having 3, do your sizing so that you end up with 3 squares. Obviously a square's even size, isn't it? Yeah. So that's how you do that. I'll just leave my trimmer here. So now what we're going to do is, if you have only printed on one side, and this is super important, if you've only printed on one side, you need to turn them over. Okay, if you've printed on both sides, it doesn't matter because you can refold your creases. If you've printed on one side, which I have, and I recommend, because there's a reason for it. Okay, turn it over. Super important, or else you'll have your cuts on the wrong way, and your item won't fold right. So turn it over. So you've got your score line here. So go from the score line on the far right here up to the corner. So I do that by finding my score line. I put it right in my cutting track there, and I hold it with my finger, and then I swivel the card. I'll just need to move it down. And then I swivel the card so that the point is in the track as well. So I've got both of those contact points in my track, and then I will cut. You get these little triangles, save those, because you can absolutely use those and just glue them on two sides, and you've got a little tuck. So save those. All right, we'll be using them later. So then what you want to do is you want to turn it around, and you will need to cut. So you've done that. So turn it clockwise and do the same. You're going from the far right up to the corner. Okay, I'm taking my time here. I like to do things in real time so that you can follow along, and you end up with that shape. What is it? Is it a rhombus? I didn't pay attention in maths at school. I was too busy sat at the back talking, believe it or not. You're getting that shape, okay? So then you're going to do the same on your second piece. All right, so remember, pattern down, far right, score line, up to the corner. All right, I'll try and speed this up a bit. Take your time and get it lined up nicely, or else your folds will be a little bit off, but it's not that big of a deal. Then turn it all the way clockwise and do the same. That is clockwise, isn't it? Yeah. Sometimes, you know, I think my brain's going because I forget very simple things. I think it must be it's my age. I'm not stupid. I'm just getting, you know, I'm aging and my brain's tired. So again, we've got these two. So again, look at that. How cute will that be? Use those little triangles and you've got a double tuck, okay? Or you could put it on the corner of the page at the top and have it as an upward tuck. You can totally use them. Don't waste them. Don't lose them. Save them. Right, so we've got these. So now I'm going to show you the magic envelope. And then we're going to put everything on our page and decorate it. So you've got these two shapes. Doesn't matter which one goes at the bottom. Turn it over, put it flat on your desk. Just want to, you just want to fold those score lines. Okay. Let me give me boom folder. Fold your score lines inwards. Okay. Make sure that they're straight. You can know it's straight because you're lining it up with the edge of the cardstock. Okay, and I'm just going to do this one really quickly. Okay, and this one really quickly. Right, so you're putting that one down first, and then this one is going to lay over the top. Okay, so you've got it like a, you know, like a spinning star shape. Do not glue this to that. Okay, we're leaving it loose. Okay. So now here's the magic bit. So you go, hold on, that way. So you want to go that way. So you want to make sure that your underneath has got a flap to the left, okay? And then put that one over top, okay? So your bottom one goes left to right and your top one goes top to bottom, okay? Important. So then you go left and over, bottom up, right over, okay, and then this will tuck. Can you see? If you just lift that up, that will tuck in there like so, okay. All right, just coax it in and tuck it in. Now you might think, well, it's not lined up right. Because you've got all of those bulky layers, okay, with no gussets, you're going to need to just coax it in and just refold the creases, okay. So, right, so it doesn't matter now which way you have it, but pay attention as well here. So you will see when you're looking, you've got a gap there. It's like a tube on one side. So when you're gluing in your book, you want to make sure that the tube is running that way. That's horizontal, yeah? So let's start and assemble. So I'm going to put this in my page here. This is my pocket. I want my magic envelope to go and lay it over like so, because we're having layers, okay? I want a little bit of space at the bottom because I'm going to put a sentiment. But I want to make sure that wherever this pocket is, that when I've got my tag in it, my tag's not protruding over the top of my page. So just plan where you're going to glue things, okay? Yeah. So I want my pocket about there. All right, I'm just going to actually just put a little pencil mark. So we're going to glue the pocket down first. Okay. And I will show you the full magic of that magic envelope in a moment. All right. It's fabulous. It's fabulous. And you're going to be like, oh, wow. Okay. All right. You might not be. Right. So now with this, as I say, to the right, we're going to glue this. Not too much glue because you want it to be a pocket as well. So a thin bead of glue. Okay. Down the side, along the bottom and up the side. And it's the side with the opening. And you've got an opening on both sides. Okay? Okay. So now you want to, am I in shot? You want to place this over your pocket. So you've got your, it's like you're inspired by scrapbooking and card layers, where everything's layered over top of each other, but you can see all the layers. And then you want to glue that down, okay? So this is where the magic starts and happens, okay? So that is now a pocket for a tag, okay? Decorate the tag further like I did with mine, look, with little tabs and bows and whatever you like, okay? When this has dried, you can get one of these journal cards. I showed you how to make these and where to get them from. And that will slide in there, okay? If it feels a bit snug, you can just trim a little bit down on your trimmer. Now, another thing to bear in mind here is how much you want to layer over here, okay? Because you want, this is going to need trimming. Let me just, it's making my thing move. So it's a little bit snug, so I'm just going to trim a little bit off, okay? I'm going to trim a little bit off. And then what you want to bear in mind, okay, is you don't want this to protrude too far out here, out of the pages, because when your book's closed, you don't want it sticking out like that, okay? I don't like that because they'll get beat up on your bookshelf, okay? So I don't want it protruding too far. So does the bottom end protrude more than I want it to on this pocket here? Because I want to see this paper, it's pretty. Yes, it does. So I'm just going to make a mark and I'm just going to trim a little bit of it off, okay? So I'm doing that by eye. There's no precise measurement because that's due to personal taste. It might not bother you. You might not mind. You might want the full journaling card. Okay. So that is that bit done. So that slides in there. Okay. And then we've got a pocket here. So we can grab one of these journaling cards, which are the journal pages from this collection, A Creative Life. Printed two to a page, fold them in half and glue them together. It doesn't get any easier. Okay. So then I know that this pocket is 3.5. I know that I'm going to lose some of that 3.5 because of my gluing. So I probably want to make this to be about 3 inches. Okay. So what does it measure? It's 3.5. So if I take 1/4 inch off each side, 1/4 inch off that side and 1/4 inch off that side, it should fit. It might not. It might not. Okay. It does. It fits. Okay. It's sticky. It's not going in smoothly because my glue's still wet. Okay. I'll just trim a tiny bit more off of mine, but 3.25 would be adequate. Okay. I'll just trim a little tiny bit more off. Okay. And then, you know, you can ink them if you want. I'm inking some things and not others. I feel like your item will tell you if it feels like it needs inking. Okay, and when I'm inking, I'm using milled lavender distress ink because it's a nice subtle lavender colour. Okay, so that will slide in there now. Okay, and we don't want it to go all the way down because if you look, okay, we've got layer, that layer's over, we've got layer. It's all about layers because layers draw the eye to the interesting things. Okay, so I have made some tabs, and I will put tabs on both of those. Then I'm going to show you the magic envelope. I'm just waiting for it to dry, okay? Patience, grasshopper. I'm just waiting for it to dry, okay? Don't mess about with it until it is fully dry and glued in your book, or else it'll just come undone and you'll feel frustrated, okay? So, tab here. I've used my tab punch. You can make them a heap of different ways. I've even got videos on how to make them without using this, totally by hand. You can use the envelope punch board. You can use the tab punch board. There's all sorts of ways. You can even just cut I don't really want to waste that. Let me pretend that this is a longer rectangle than it is. You can even just cut a rectangle like that. Okay. And fold that and put that, I'll maybe cut it a bit smaller, Amanda, that looks ridiculous. And just put that over and make a tab like that. You don't need anything fancy, okay? Just use your imagination. Okay, you don't need fancy things. Not that a tab punch is anything fancy, but you know what I mean. You don't need to go out and buy things unless you want to. You know, there's nothing wrong with it, but I'm saying you don't have to. Don't feel that just because you see somebody with a punch or a die that you have to have it, okay? If it's useful to you and you want it, then get it, but you don't have to. Right, so what I'm also just going to do while I'm here is just trash my desk. I've taken some little words from my word soup collection, which is in my Ko-fi, okay? And it's a good mixture of words and it's different fonts. And I don't mind if I've got different words and different fonts in the same kind of journal. I think it adds interest to have not everything exactly matching. Okay, I've just put a little hello there. And then here, I don't even know where this has come from. This says beautiful minds inspire others. I don't know if this, I think this is from a word soup as well. Okay, and I'm going to add that to the bottom. Too much glue, Amanda. Always too much glue. And I'm adding that just to the bottom here. Okay, because this journal is about creating and crafting. So, beautiful minds inspire others. And then I would add an eyelet there, as I have done here. And I just got some cheap ribbon. This is really cheap. It's like, oh, it's not even like, it's almost like plastic. It's like a satiny ribbon. But I just thought the colour was nice. Cheap as chips, £1. Don't buy expensive ribbons, okay, for crafting. Not unless you're making, like, you know, a garment. Where's my page gone? There it is. Right, so what I've also done here is I have fussy cut 2 bows from the collection. So I'm going to show you how this works, then we're going to add the bows. So we've got a pocket here, we've got a pocket here, and we've got a pocket here. So what does this thing do, Amanda? Right, watch. So you can undo the flap, undo the flap, undo the flap, undo the flap. And what have you got? You've got hidden journaling, but you've not only got hidden journaling, you've got removable hidden journaling, okay? So you can take that out, you can put it to one side, you can journal on it, you can journal on that bit. Or you could put a little hidden photo or a little hidden something or a message, okay? But it's removable, okay? And I like that because sometimes writing in your journal, even when you're good like me and you don't have bulky journals, it can be hard. So this will come out and you can lay it flat on your desk and you can write on it, okay? And it's fun. And then you put it back in, okay? And again, have I done that right? Yep. I'm going to have to fold it the other way because I've glued it down different. So left, bottom, left, in. Okay, let's have a look. Right. Okay, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how you do it. Okay, it doesn't matter. You just need to make sure that however you fold it, it's kind of holding both layers together. Okay. So there you go, and then you put your journaling card back in, and then we're going to add a little embellishment. So I've got these bows, and if you just glue just the centre, okay, and put it right in the middle of that one. So don't glue it on either of these, put it right in the middle of that one. Okay. And then I'm going to layer this over top. I'm just going to, I've got my finger and thumb like that, okay, and if I just bend it and then curve it, it's just going to give that a little bit of shape. If you want extra dimension, you can put some little foam dots behind each one of these loops, and then when you layer it over, you've got a bit of dimension. Okay, so there you've got a double embellishment, and you've got your magic envelope with 2 lots of hidden journaling. One's removable. It's also a pocket there. It's also a pocket there. Okay. And you are filling an entire page very easily without any specialty dies. You don't need anything fancy. All you need is a pair of scissors and maybe a ruler. So anybody can do this. Okay. If you don't want, or you don't have or want to use my collections, use what you've got, but use that idea. And, you know, when you get an idea that's good, use it over and over. So remind yourself about it. And that doesn't want to go in there because it's stuck on the ledge of the pocket. I've actually got a workaround for that. I need to remember to share that with you in the next, there we go, in the next pocket that I make. So I hope that you like that. So that is two beautiful interactive pages already in our journal. And it's, what is it, the 1st of July? We've got the rest of July to go to fill this journal and to fill the French sheet journal. So, you know, keep watching. Take care and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.